Hey guys, AJ here. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, July 23rd. I really felt like I needed to make this video because I had a very bad experience with a customer this weekend. Like, as you can tell, I'm just at a loss for words because how this guy treated me and verbally assaulted me. I really do go above and beyond to try and help everyone. Not every customer and not every job goes according to plan. And, and those are the risks that we take every time we touch a car. Even if it's new, I don't care if it has 9 miles on it. Every time we touch a car, it's a risk. A job could go south, or we may get the car apart and there may be other issues. And at the end of the day, it is your vehicle. Therefore, you are going to pay for it. No one else is obligated to pay for your fucking Range Rover. Well, this customer, I have serviced his car before, just doing some cooling. He had a couple cooling hoses that blew. And at the time, he needed front wheel bearings and he needed brakes and rotors. And I told him this 3 months ago, and I was like, and he was just so insistent on like, how much time do I have? How long can I push the car? And I was like, I don't think you should push it far at all, if at any. You're putting yourself and your passengers at risk as well as everyone else around you. I made him sign a liability waiver at that time because the brake pads and rotors were so low that, I was able to put a temperature gun on it and see it. And I actually showed him how bad they were, and he still was like, oh, fuck it. Oh, they'll be all right. Oh, when I got the money, I'll come back. Well, fast forward 3 months. Fast forward 3 months. He had made an appointment to drop the vehicle off on a Monday. The Sunday before, I get a frantic phone call from him stating that the vehicle, he's stuck at a traffic light somewhere down south of Atlanta, and it's about an hour and a half away and needed help. And I was like, well, it's Sunday and I'm closed and I can't really offer any assistance other than, you can tow your car to my shop. And then we can assess it the next day. And he's like, you're not open today? You're not going to be able to get my car back to me today? And I was like, I don't even know what's wrong with it. Like, how am I, and it's like 3:30 in the afternoon. How am I supposed to get it back to you today? I'm like, what? Are you seriously asking me that? Well, how am I supposed to get around? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a mechanic. I don't dictate how you get around while your car's in the shop. There's a big sign in my shop that says an emergency on your part does not constitute one on mine. So if your car breaks down and I'm closed and it's after hours, then we assess it the next day when I'm open. I'm not going to drop what I'm doing and go assess your car on a Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. To even ask that is just so, it blows my mind. Well, I get the car in the shop on Monday, put it on the lift, and realized the front wheel bearings that I advised him to replace months ago had seized. And in the process, he didn't realize, I guess, what was happening, and he was pushing on the accelerator so hard that he caused his transfer case drive shaft, or they call it a propeller shaft, has snapped. That connects the transfer case to the transmission to give him his all-wheel drive function. Okay, so he broke that. And of course, we have to deal with the wheel bearings. Now we have to deal with a very expensive propeller shaft that he snapped. And then also, we have to deal with the brakes and the rotors. Well, of course, the propeller shaft was $1,200. I don't make the prices. That's Range Rover prices. Oh, guys, say hey to Pebbles. Say hey to Pebbles and Ghost. Pebbles is a miniature Doberman. Ghost. And Ghost is a Corinne Terrier. They're the little Toto dogs from Wizard of Oz. Say hey, Pebbles. Say hey. Oh, thank you. Pebbles is just daddy's girl, so she usually is trying to be all up under me, but say hey, guys. Say hey. She's such a sweet doggy. Anyways, so, I sent him an estimate for the propeller shaft. I sent him an estimate for brakes, pads, and rotors, and also the front wheel bearings. And this is on a Range Rover, guys, so you can imagine how much this costs. I mean, I think the estimate was close to like $4,200. It was a lot, and these items are essential. You cannot drive the vehicle without these. I mean, maybe you could get away with driving without the propeller shaft. You just won't have all-wheel drive function. You'll just be in two-wheel drive. But there are so many sensors and whatnot on the vehicle that I'm sure driving without it will cause some indicators to pop up on the dash and throw some sort of malfunction indicator. But I don't know. I couldn't drive the car because it had no fucking brakes. Even when I fixed the wheel bearing and the propeller shaft, wheel bearings, I could not drive the vehicle because it had no brake pads and rotors. Okay, so he approves the estimate, except for the brakes and rotors, and I was like, all right, man, I don't feel comfortable fixing anything on your car if you're not going to take care of the brakes and rotors. You cannot drive this car with no brakes and rotors. So he manipulates me into fixing two of the components and then leaving out the brake job because, a lot of these parts I'm not paying for. You're going to pay for this stuff up front if I have a bad feeling about this stuff, especially if you're being dodgy about the price. And if that's the only thing that you're talking to me about is about the price. You're not talking about what we can do to get it done safer or anything. The only thing that matters was the fucking dollar. And, I made him sign a liability waiver because I'm not having my name on that. Sorry, someone's texting me and I was reading it. My bad. And, of course we had a couple words because I'm like, dude, I'm not the shop or the mechanic for you if you're not going to take care of your car accordingly and correctly. I can't. I can't advocate for that when it goes against everything that I was taught and trained to become a professional mechanic, So the fact that we're even arguing about this instead of him just saying, yes, I know you're giving me the best price possible. Just fix this stuff so me and my family are safe. Well, that was not the conversation. He came to pick up the vehicle and wanted to do all these haggling on the prices and kept asking me what the price was, and just trying to manipulate the conversation to try and upset me. And he started calling me names, and that's what this video is mainly about. Is you got to stop treating your mechanics like shit. It's so fucked up. This job is hard enough, and when we have a customer that just doesn't get it, they won't listen. They won't listen to anything that we advise them, and the only thing they consider is the money. Well, he came to pick up the car. He was. I was like, this is the bill. You approved it. Here's your signature. Here's our text messages. And he was like, well, we are going to have to come down on the price because I don't have all that right now. And I'm like, well, sir, then I can't, when you do have the money, the vehicle will be here and I'll give you your keys and you can drive your car away, because I'm not in the business of coming down on the price because you can't afford the car that you're driving, and then also you are neglecting it to the point where you can't drive it anymore. That is on you. That is on you as a customer and as an adult to take responsibility to to take care of your shit, bro. Well, he didn't like that. He started calling me a faggot. He started calling me a cracker when, you fucking assholes, I'm not white. I'm Mexican, bro. So just sitting there, like, this dude's calling me a faggot and a cracker in my face when first of all, I'm bisexual. I'm not fucking gay. And two, I'm Mexican. I'm not white. That's it just made me laugh so hard. And you guys don't understand. It is 2025. When you call someone a faggot these days, it does not bother people. It is just showing how ignorant and how fucking stupid you are. And this is an African American man. How would he feel if I went in on him saying the N-word, saying all kinds of, fucked up sexual innuendos and comments to try and degrade me and my character and my integrity? Because I'm trying to get you to pay for your car. Being gay being bisexual and being in the gay community and being a mechanic honestly hasn't been, a lot of people, working in such a masculine career, there's all this stigma of, gay dudes, if you're into dudes, you can't have these certain skill sets. And dude, I fucking run trains and circles around any guy that is in my field that I've worked with. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I like dudes. And I do understand a lot of gay dudes get wrapped up in the whole being gay, and that becomes their whole identity, and and that's it. And yes, that is a real problem in our community. There's a lot of guys that really emphasize their whole life of being gay when, being into dudes is only a small portion of who I am. I have so many other skill sets and qualities that set me apart from that. So, unfortunately, it is a problem in our community, and a lot of people are very insecure when it comes to the faggot word. But, when you do that, you're just making yourself look really stupid. And I haven't really dealt with a whole lot of homophobia inside the workplace. It normally comes from angry customers and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say hurtful. It's so aggravating because I'm such a cool guy, and you're never going to meet another dude that's into dudes like me. It's just not going to happen. I really pride myself on that because, like I said, a lot of gays and lesbians or people in the community get so wrapped up in the fact that they're gay or different that becomes their whole life. And I really wanted to make this video and comment on that, in the day in a life of like a gay mechanic or a bi mechanic. Like I said, like I've always had, once people have gotten to know me and see how cool and chill I am, they're really actually surprised that I am into dudes. And I've actually got a lot of compliments on the fact that, a lot of people haven't met a whole lot of people that are different in that aspect. And it really opens their eyes to the fact that when they meet me that, hey, I'm just like everyone else. And unless I talk to you and we have some connection, you're really not going to know that about me. And I find it that it's just best not to have those conversations. If we're connecting in like a personal way, yeah, that's something maybe I'll share with you, but it's not something I'm going to come out and, oh, just so you know, I'm into guys. Like that's never really a discussion or how it comes up. It's just, and people get to know when they discover that. But it's one of those things, for the most part, even when I went to UTI and graduated from UTI in 2013, I did not deal with a lot of homophobia. There was a few idiots, but even then, by the time I graduated, those dudes were texting me every day, asking me for advice on outfits and shit like that, or just stupid stuff, because they realize, like, not all gay dudes are feminine and loud and just obnoxious on the whole fact that they're fucking gay. So I really try and instill that with people, because it is something that a lot of people do inquire when I meet them and they find out what I do for a living. They're mind blown. For what though? Like, anyways, it's definitely helped me out in my career, being as different as I am. So, I think there is a huge stigma in the fact that being different in that sense, you deal with a lot of issues in our field, and it's just always been the opposite. I've always had people like just even open up to me, people that I would not think that would open up to me, and just befriend me and be a part of my life. It really surprised me. So, guys, like, I don't, so when a customer comes at me like that, it really doesn't bother me. It makes them look so fucking dumb that it really is, disheartening, because, this guy just sabotaged a perfectly good relationship with a shop owner and his mechanic, all over the fact that he could not be honest with me and humble and just tell me he didn't have the money. And, he did tell me he didn't have the money, but, if you want discounts and stuff given away to you by your mechanic or the shop that you use, that kind of shit is earned. You don't come to a shop that you've only been to once, you've never referred anyone, and start asking for discounts and for me to put you on a payment plan. I'm a for-profit business. I'm not a non-profit business. So, until I really do what I really want to do in this field, which is start a non-profit shop and help people in the community that are less fortunate, that need their vehicles, I guess I'm going to charge you for your Range Rover accordingly. So, guys, just so you know, being gay or bisexual or being different in this field is not as bad as a lot of people, think in their head that it's going to be or is. It's just like any other job. Yeah, you meet people and you get a little closer with some people, like coworkers at work, but most of the time you go in, we just have normal discussions. Nothing the fact that, I like dudes or anything like that, but, I just really wanted to make this video to shine some light on that, because there is this huge stigma that goes around, that if you're different or into dudes, it's hard to make it in a career like mine. Fuck. I graduated from UTI in 2013, worked for BMW of San Francisco for several years, moved to Atlanta, and started my own business and eventually opened my own shop. So, as long as you work hard and have integrity and understand, you can't, shit's not going to happen overnight. So, as long as you work hard and stay true to yourself and stay honest, you will get there and you're going to have anything you want, and the sky's the limit. So, I'm proof of that. So, I'd love to definitely, talk to you guys some more if you have any questions or concerns, or, well, I wouldn't say concerns, but questions, comments. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and your experience. Maybe you're a bisexual or gay dude working in a shop. What has been your experience? But that has been mine. So yeah, guys, please, like I said, like, share, subscribe. Leave some comments in the below. And till next time, maybe you'll see Ghost some more. Say hey, Ghost. Say, I'm not afraid of no ghost. What's up, Ghost? He's daddy's boy. Alright, guys, till next time. Peace.